In the last days, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh, and old men will dream dreams, and young men will see visions. And he goes, so while you were preaching, I saw you and your wife in a field. It was just this big field. And there were all these animals everywhere, all these just farm animals and ranch animals. But it's like they were kind of aimless, like they didn't have anywhere to go. They didn't have anywhere to lay their heads, or there was no shelter. And then all of a sudden, you guys got a hammer and nails, and you started building a door. But the craziest thing happened. I'm like, okay, what happened? He goes, right when you finished the door, a building came down out of heaven and sat down on the door. The same time you finished the door, the building came down. And then the door was open, and all of those animals just started making their way inside the building. And it's like they finally had a home.
You know, when you talk about build a door, that's something that God's obviously put deep in our hearts for this season, that we're supposed to build a door so God can do what God's going to do. So God can bring a building down out of heaven, so God can usher us into the future. And I think that's just our faithfulness and whatever that looks like. But the whole build a door concept, it's nothing that new, like, you know, that we're doing something that's never been done before. In fact, we feel like a door was built for us. I mean, our church is 100 years old. So over the last 10 decades, people have gone before us, and they built a door for us so that we could be here, so that we could have the church that we have today. And they paved the way. They prayed, they served, they gave, they sacrificed. And I'll always be forever grateful for those people. A lot of them, I don't even know their names, but now I just feel like it's our turn. Now it's our turn to build a door for the future, for our kids and for our grandkids and our great-grandkids. Unless the Lord comes and takes us all home, then we want to continue to make a dent in San Angelo, Texas for the kingdom and to make an impact. And so us building a door is just continuing. It's just continuing what our church has been doing for a long time.
Colossians chapter 4, verse 3, Paul said, pray that God may open to us a door for the word to declare the mystery of Christ. Paul's like, hey, we're in this area, man, it's hard, and people are hard-hearted, and they're angry, and they're distant, and they're confused, and they're not sure what to think about God, and so I need you to pray. And if you're going to pray for anything, I want you to pray that God would open a door, because when God opens a door, nobody can shut that door, right? So pray that there be an open door for the sharing of the gospel so that people may come into the kingdom. Sometimes God will have you build something not for you, but for someone else's breakthrough.
It began under a tree in a field. 3 ladies would go out there and pray for a church. And there was a man by the name of A.C. Bates who heard, and he came and started the church in 1925, 100 years ago. We have no clue the name of those ladies, but they prayed. They prayed into existence what's going on today. They had really no idea what was going to happen, but God knows who they are, and they're looking over the portals of heaven. Rejoicing. Several pastors came and left. That was kind of the norm back then. You know, they'd stay a couple of years and move on. But then Brother Vassar came, and he pastored the church for 7 or 8 years. He bought the property where we are now. And then Brother Stone came and actually built the building that we're meeting in now. When we came, we saw great potential.
Yeah.
Great potential. But it just took some adjusting to release that. We slowly transitioned them and led them into all the changes that you see now. We lost some along the way, which was sad. But I had a woman tell me once, she said, all those people are going to go to heaven. But the people we reach from here on might not have that opportunity if we don't make these changes. I said, can I quote you on that? She said, absolutely. I've quoted her 11 million times, They knew we had to do it to survive and move forward and reach another generation of people. So when we look back at our history there, it was all towards building what's happening now. And, obviously I wasn't going to be the guy, but I knew who was going to be the guy.
I remember in the year of our Lord, 2007, I was sitting in Plano, Texas. I was a youth pastor at a church called Grace Church in Plano, and I'm sitting in my little office, and I say it's an office. It was really a closet that they changed the door and put a window on the door so I would feel like it was an office. And I'm sitting in there, my little desk that took up the entire office and a little bookshelf, and I had this desktop computer. Remember when the monitors were like really deep, and it just covered the whole desk, and I'm like, just typing away my little sermon, trying to come up with something to say, and it's clear as day. I look up on the wall, and it's like there's a flat screen TV, like rectangular image on the wall, and I could see myself preaching a sermon in this room in 2007. And that started a stirring in my heart for this city. God, what do you want to do in San Angelo? Are there lost people in San Angelo that you want to reach? Why would you be, God, are you calling me? I got out of San Angelo. Now you want me to go back? Like, this can't be you. And I had this out because I thought, I'm married to sweet Sarah, and Sarah's a big city girl. Sarah would never let me take her to the country and live out here. It would never happen, so we're good. But this gnawing feeling just wouldn't leave me. And one night I came back to our little 1-bedroom apartment, and I crawled in bed with her, and I just like, babe. What if someday, and she goes, moved to San Angelo and did ministry with your parents? She finished my sentence. And I was like, yes.
First, Lennon started Chi Alpha in probably 01, wasn't it, or 02, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
And he had this little handful of kids from the church, college-age kids from the church, but he just really began to grow it. It went so fast that you knew it was God's timing, that was ready to go. Lennon being Lennon, he called it the starving young adult ministry. And so the ladies of the church really got behind that. And every Tuesday night we fed about 300 college kids back in the back building. And so he grew it, and it was just phenomenal. Landon at that time was the youth pastor. And so then Lennon, after a few years, decided to go plant a Chi Alpha at Duke. And so Landon took over, and he was like, what if I kill it? Well, we'll start over again, And but it just flourished, and we saw so many young adults come into the church because it was based at the church. It just seemed like those young adults became the focus, that we just focused everything around, and we watched it just develop and grow. So Landon was he just even grew it even more, and we just saw great things happen. And then when we left, he was voted in. So we really feel like it was set, everything along the way was just set in motion for right now. And we're really seeing that revival that started in the young adults is continuing, and the church is just, it's a fun thing to watch, and it's a sweet spot in our life. We love it.
Come on, can we say it out loud? Jesus said what? I am what? I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. Every time we tell someone about Jesus, every time we welcome someone in to the sheepfold, we're building a door.
10 years ago, I was engaged. I didn't have Christ in my life at the time. I wasn't being a good follower of Christ, living a very worldly life, and ended up with a worldly woman. And that didn't work out. She left, and it's been me and my 2 daughters ever since. It's been 10 years that it's just been me and the girls. I felt very lost. Didn't really know how to handle my emotions well. So in turn, that turned to drinking heavily and getting lost in the bottle and drugs and people that I didn't need to be around. And one night I got drunk and I found myself really wanting a different life. I wanted to be a different person. I couldn't handle it anymore. I think I was just really tired. I was really tired of living that life. I didn't want to be that guy no more. I didn't like myself. I couldn't look myself in the mirror most days. I'd go to brush my teeth and I'd keep my head down because I didn't want to see myself. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I honestly thought, I was thinking to myself, either I'm gonna die this way or something's gonna change. I was in my kitchen and I fell to my knees and I prayed to God really, really hard to take this away from me. And I actually made God a promise: if you'll take this away from me, I will start going to church and my kids will know you. Delivered is the only word I can think of for that. Is straight pulled from the pit and placed on our path. And next thing I know, I'm posting on Facebook looking for a church to go to because God delivered me. It was like an overnight thing. God took that pain and took the drugs, the alcohol, all of it away from me, and I felt different. I woke up to a new life. So I posted on Facebook looking for a church to go to fulfill the promise that I made. And Aaron Whitford commented about SAF, I should go there. So we went and checked it out, and that's been home. I found my family there, my friends. I'm part of the men's group now. And it's just been really beautiful. I also get to serve on the greeting team in the mornings, shake a lot of hands, see smiles. That lights up my whole week. It's so cool. My daughters are happy and they're loving church, and seeing they're smiling all the time now. Their grades are amazing. We're not late to school in the mornings. I'm not waking up hungover. I get to cook them breakfast, spend time with them, then take them to school, where we pray on the way to school, and that really lights up their day too. If I make it halfway down the loop and I haven't started praying yet, they're looking at me waiting for it. So I really love that, and God's really been growing me as a person and giving me confidence, and I get to live a new life that He gave to me.
I think one of my greatest joys about our church is just, I really believe that in God's grace, He's made this just a house of healing. And I remember years ago, somebody approached me and they had been praying, and God had given them a word about our church that people would come from all over the place hurting and just burned out and just kind of exhausted by just what life has done to them, and that this would be a hospital in a way, that God would use this church to heal people and bandage them back up, and also just to build them back up to send them out again. And so we've seen that happen just time and time and time again over the years.
They're hungry.
Yes, they are. That's why I kind of, drift away. I hate that.
They're a lot better than mine. I was not really raised in a typical household, you might say. I was in and out of like foster care, children's homes, boys' ranches since I was 5 years old. Back and forth from both parents. I was smoking marijuana by the time I was 12 years old. First time I did methamphetamines, I was 16 or 15. I learned how to make methamphetamines, so I was doing that, selling drugs, and all that ultimately led up to me getting arrested whenever I was 26 years old. I got into more trouble while I was in county jail and got put into solitary confinement. And I was in there for a couple of days, and the best way I've been able to explain it is the Lord put his hand on me and revealed to me that if I continued to live that way, my daughter was going to wind up growing up the same way I did. Yeah, I just made a choice. I decided that day that I was going to change my life, and I submitted to God and changed my life. And got out of treatment and met back up with Linda. And during that time, Linda was actually in prison in Oklahoma as well.
I was arrested in Oklahoma, and I ended up going back to prison for the second time. But there was a huge difference this time. Like, I gave my life to the Lord, and I sought him with all that I had. There were these 3 ladies that would come in, and I was in solitary a lot of the time. And they would come in and they would do Bible study with us. Well, the 2 older ladies would always sing and start preaching, and and the other young lady, she wouldn't talk very often. Well, one time she decided that she was going to talk, and so the other lady sat down and she got up and she said, hold on. She looked so prim and proper, beautiful jewelry, nice hair, beautiful makeup. She looked very, very sophisticated. And she told us, she said, when I was in prison, and that right there, like, stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, there ain't no way you were in prison. And she started sharing her testimony about when she was in there and how the Lord wanted her to come back and share with the ladies, and that's exactly what she did. And that resonated with me. And I feel like the Lord spoke to me at that time and was like, you see that? That's what I want from you. I want you to serve me, and I want you to go back, and I want you to tell those ladies about me. That's it.
And this is how salvation works too, right? You don't wait until your life is perfect and then come to God. No, you come to God broken, and then God makes something new out of your life and through your life, right? Some of you need to build a door for the saving of your entire household. And I believe this for some of you, you're going to be the first in a long line of family members that are going to come to Christ. You'll be the first one in your family to follow God, the first one of your friend group to follow God, but you will start a chain reaction. It'll be like a domino effect.
With the decision that I made, I knew that no matter what, I was going to follow Jesus. And it's a hard decision because a lot of times the people that you're involved with may not be going down that same road. So you have to make a hard decision, that well, if you're not going down the road towards Jesus, then maybe we have to part ways, you know. And
I get there, and in my mind, I'm like, look, I'm gonna have the conversation with him. If that's the lifestyle that he wants to go back to, then that's it, we're done. He can go back to that, and you know, I gotta have that conversation with him first, because God's first in my life now. So I pick him up and we're driving off, and he's like, look, Linda, we need to talk. And I'm like, well, yes, we do. And he goes, look, me first.
I told her that you know, if you're not willing to go to church and give your life to the Lord and live right, then we're probably gonna have to part ways. And she was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to tell you that.
And I looked at him and I was like, I don't think so. You are not having this conversation with me. I'm having the conversation with you. So we got a pretty good laugh out of that.
It was good. So the Lord, he showed up.
So close your eyes. Do you feel the same? Only thing that matters, without change, I will let you into my mind's Recover the fallen tears that have been
When he came home, we had made the decision that we were going to find a church together.
Then the following Sunday, we just went to check it out and saw Pastor David and the worship. And the worship has always been just wonderful. So, yeah, as soon as we walked in, it was like home, you know. So you know when you're home when you walk in.
We pull up to the church and we go in and we're like, okay, don't talk to anybody, right? Don't talk to anybody. And we walk in and Pastor David is standing at the front and he just greets us and he's like, how y'all doing? It's so good to have you. And it was like walking into your house. You know, it was just that spirit of this is home, you know. And right off the bat, leave it to Drew, he starts telling Pastor David about his background. And Pastor David is like, oh, that's good. Glad to have you. We love it. Glad you're here. I was like, Drew, at least wait a couple of times before you start telling people, you know, my wife's been to prison. And he's like, no, I just want to get it out of the way. So, but we start going there and we start getting connected. We just loved it and we just never left.
I've been a greeter. I've served on the board and the security team. Just pretty much any facet except for worship. Y'all don't want me to worship, so.
When we first went to the church, we were still those ashamed, broken spirits, right? Because of where we had been. I hadn't been out very long. I knew who I used to be, and the image of myself was I still had a lot of that shame, okay? And so we were still working on ourselves. And so when we walked in and we were able to be, hey, this is who we are, this is where we were, and this is the direction we want to be on. Pastor David was very loving in that, to the point where he was like, look, that's not who you are anymore. We offer life groups. We'll help you with becoming a member of the church. We'll get you connected to where you don't ever have to go back to that lifestyle again.
People feel like our church is a safe place, a place where they can bring their authentic selves, where they can tell their real story and just find community with people who have similar stories, or even just people who honor those stories.
I love that you said safe place. There was literally a guy that came up to me a couple years ago and he said, I think you need to change the name of the church. And we always say SAF, San Angelo First. And he said, you need to change the name of the church. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, is he gonna say something like tacky about the name of our church? Like, we can't tell if it's a bank or whatever. And he said, no, I think you need to add an E, like SAFE, because it's the safest place we've ever been.
Well, through this portion, my brother gets home. Before he came home, his parole officer actually called me, and they were like, hey, he's fixing to come out. We want to make sure that he has a support system. And I was like, look, we go to this amazing church. We attend life groups. We have events. We're greeters. We do all these different things with our church. And she's like, that's fantastic. All right, great. So he gets home and he's greeting with me that same Sunday. Like, he came home Friday night. Saturday we were doing the Rock the Pumpkin thing, and then Sunday he's greeting with me at church.
My sister and my brother-in-law had started going to church, San Angelo First. And so I started going to that church. I remember I was out the very first day I was out, and we went to, not the first day, but the second day we went to Rock the Pumpkin. And that was in 2010. And so we went to Rock the Pumpkin, and my brother-in-law, he was going to be on the rigs the next day, and my sister was greeting. And I remember her asking me, she said, do you mind greeting with me? And I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. I mean, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that means.
And it's so crazy because nobody was weirded out by the fact that, you know, he had just gotten out of prison. They were just like so accepting and so loving, and it was just amazing to see the acceptance and the encouragement that we received from our whole church body.
And you know, that's the thing that I tell guys every time. I tell them there's a secret in the Bible, because I'd asked the Lord when I was going to get out, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And that's kind of how I fell in at San Angelo First, because God told me, he said, I didn't ask you to do anything. I said, what do you mean? Like, I want to do the prison ministry. I want to ride my motorcycle into a unit. I want to do this. I want to do that. He's like, I didn't ask you to do anything. And he took me to John 15, where it says, I'm the vine and you're the branches. He said, all I've asked you to do is abide in me, and you'll produce much fruit.
If you're connected to the vine, because Jesus said, remain in me and I in you, right? This relationship, this connection, I'm the source. If you're connected to the vine, you will produce fruit. You will, and all of them. You can only do it by driving your roots deep into Christ. And the more you embrace his love, that you love God and you're loved by God, and you embrace the promise of the gospel, the more the spiritual fruits will just appear. I mean, they'll appear naturally in your life. Let God do something on the inside of you that produces an evidence of our Christianity, which our world desperately needs, right?
I started serving at church because, like I said, my wife had divorce papers, and I remember telling her, you know, the Lord told me we were going to be together, and she said, well, I talk to him every day, and he didn't tell me that. So sign right here. And I was like, well, how about you start seeking the Lord and I start seeking the Lord, and we figure out where we end up, you know? And now today we've been married 20 years. We've been together 24 years. You know, there was no divorce papers ever finalized, you know? But it started with that life group. It started with SAF. It started with having people like Pastor David or Pastor Landon who are like, you know, maybe you should be an elder, or maybe you should be on the board, or maybe you should serve on this. I remember I was on the Eyes and Ears team. I remember I was on the usher team. I was on the greeter team. I was on the board. I went and took church health classes. But what happened was the Lord continued to call me to the jail ministry and to the prison ministry, and so now that's kind of what I do.
So just between my brother-in-law and Linda and I, we have served in the county jail, just doing Bible studies in the county jail through God Comes Justice. My brother-in-law and I, we go into several different prisons together, and giving testimony and just serving the guys in prison. Kairos, the Reconcilers motorcycle ministry, just any kind of facet that we can get in and give testimony and just bring the love of Jesus.
So those are kind of the things that I just kind of gravitated towards after I feel like, and I tell everybody all the time, after my training from SAF, because that was the door. I mean, that was the start of it, all of it.
A perfect God. You got a bunch of people in the room that they know how great the King is because they were once dead, and then he came and he brought them back to life. You got a bunch of people in this room who've been held down by chains of bondage and sin and addiction, but they met a God and they had an encounter and everything changed. Come on, he's worthy of worship. He is worthy of praise. You might not know it yet, but you've stepped into a room where God's about to do something. Oh, I feel it, I feel it, I feel it. God is getting ready to do something in this place. I hope you're ready for it. I hope you're ready for it. Do you believe that he's great? Do you believe that he's changed lives? Do you believe that the best is yet to come? Come on, let's sing it.
Around 2017, we decided that we needed to find a church home. It was something that we had been planning. And we had attended church. We're Catholic by family, and but it was just something that, can't say it wasn't for me. It just wasn't enough. It was just like, I did my duty. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling. I wanted to feel the presence of God in my life. So we made the decision that we would try churches. And just passing by SAF every day, and on Sundays, seeing these crowds there, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. And she said, go. Come back and tell me what you think. And I went in and I was greeted, and it just felt like home. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I can't wait to get home to let her know that I found our church.
It's home. Whereas my past churches, I didn't know anybody. When I walk into church now, I am greeted by 20 plus people, and they're not just church people, they're all my friends, and now family. We talked about life group, and I got a text once I signed up for it, and I had no idea what I was in for. I was very nervous, to be honest. I had never done anything like this, never done Bible studies or anything, and talked to my husband about it. He's like, I think you should go. I mean, something's leading you that way. And I joined a giant family. I mean, we became the biggest family, and Aaron and Brandon were the best family members I had ever had, honestly, and I learned so much from my life group. I actually kind of came out of my shell. I was very naive about talking about the Bible because I didn't know how people would take me. And now I'm able to talk to people about it, and I can reach over and pray for somebody.
I was just thinking that in my head just now, the whole church turning 100, and we're build a door. And kind of feel like I built a door. And not only did I build the door, I held it open.
We started off with just my husband, and now us as a family, my whole entire family, and then my parents, my brother and his wife and her family, and her sister's family. I mean, we can fill up 2-3 rows now, where in the beginning it was just us two. I am super proud of my husband because I never thought we would be back in church, and to see where we came from. We came a long way. We've almost been married 20 years now, and
next month
will be 20 years. And so we started at SAF in 2017, and here it is 2025, and our whole entire family is part of this church, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. You're making me cry. I was trying so hard not to cry.
See, your faith might be the doorway that someone else walks through to meet Jesus. And there is no greater privilege in your life and in my life than leading someone to the living God. There's no greater privilege than to be able to share the good news of Jesus Christ with anyone and everyone that you possibly could, because every soul matters to God, right?
I think we're just getting started, really, in San Angelo, and I think we're going to look up one day and we're going to see a church of thousands of people, maybe in multiple locations, maybe all over the city of San Angelo, or in surrounding rural towns where those little towns deserve to have a life-giving church. And I believe that we're going to be able to plant churches in those towns. And so we're seeing a lot of multiplication happen. We're seeing a lot of people come to faith. People are coming, and they're coming, and they're growing, and they're growing, and we're going to be doing a lot of sending in the future. And that's going to take all of us. It's going to take all hands on deck, everyone going, how can I make a difference? How can I be a part of this thing? Because it's all of us.
One of the things I love so much about our church is that it's been around for 100 years, and that means that God's in it. That means there's been a remnant of people in all of their imperfections who have all sought after the heart of God and chased the vision and the dream that He gave them through their prayer and service and giving and all the things, sacrifice. And so you fast forward till now, and we stand on the shoulders of so many people who carried a vision with them so that we could have what we have today. We've been given the torch, and it's our turn, right, to make sure that San Angelo always has a place that's pushing back darkness and establishing light, that people find restoration and healing and freedom from addiction and find their second home. Like, it's our turn. And the question is, how many of us are willing to go all in so that more people can have the same type of stories that we've had for generations to come?
At SAF, I found Jesus. At SAF, I found growth, acceptance, and family.
I found family, friends, and peace.
I found family and freedom.
I found familia.
At SAF, I found spiritual growth.
I found a warm cup of coffee, a wonderful group of friendly people, good Christians, and a home place.
At SAF, I found a home.
Godly community, friends that I can rely on in any situation.
A peace and loving people, spiritual growth.
At SAF, I found freedom,
peace, family,
community,
place for my kids to grow, genuine community.
That Jesus is glorified, the gospel is preached, and community is abundant.
Friendships, love,
The second home, loving people,
family and love,
fellowship,
peace, my church family,
purpose, a place to serve, healing, family, good community,
a family.
I found a group of men that love the Lord, seek Him, and honor their families through their service.
friends,
Community, real friends, freedom,
a firm foundation,
place to belong, and my serve team.
joyful again.
my lifelong family.
The family we didn't know we were missing. My life group sisters.
At SAS, I found new life.